one of my new participants was had a bit of a sugar craving and wondered what they should do. So my first response was, well, maybe try a bit of 85% dark chocolate. That might help. Have a nice drink of fizzy water with lemon and so on. Get distracted. It will pass. And the good news is that even if you have sugar cravings early on, for most people, they do dissipate. But for many of us, it's nice to include something, a dessert, into our meal plans. And if you haven't tried anything yet, I thought it'd be a great opportunity to try the 3-minute chocolate cake in the handbook on page 89. See how that does, and then we can have, while that's cooking, we can have a quick chat about sweeteners, pros and cons. So let's get on. Right, okay, so recipe calls for 4 tablespoons of ground almonds. As usual, I'm going to try and minimise the amount of washing up as well. So I'm going to cook it in the bowl. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And a bit like the other recipe, it's a good idea to mix the dry ingredients first because it gives you a chance to smash the lumps out. So we're looking for a 1/4 teaspoon of baking powder. So you could be a bit generous with that. 1/4 teaspoon would be the absolute minimum. I like to put a little tiny pinch of salt in my, literally a tiny pinch. The butter's got a little bit of salt in it. And then that's optional. We've got the cocoa powder. So that's 1 tablespoon. I think a generous tablespoon there. So like that. I really like it chocolatey, and it is in that form actually quite good for you. So you basically just stir it round, get the lumps out. Now it says to melt the butter, 2 tablespoons of butter. And I find it a bit fiddly trying to get butter into a tablespoon, and then you've got to wash it up. So what I'm going to recommend is you just add 1 tablespoon of butter weighs about 14 grams. So I'm just going to weigh out 14 grams into here. So it's going to look about, 2 times 14 is 28. Oh, there we go, that's bang on 28. I'm going to melt that slowly now in the microwave. So I'll put that on for, let's say, 30 seconds. And see what happens to the butter. It just saves melting it in another pot, more washing up. So, and while that's doing, what else have we got? We need a little bit of water. So, and some egg. I'll grab some water. And then an egg. So going almonds, cocoa, baking powder, sweetener. Right, okay, choices of sweeteners. My preferred one is a type of sweetener called erythritol. Yeah, that's quite interesting. Look, that butter has now melted. So instead of doing it separately, I've just done it there. The rest of it's not cooked. It's just warmed and the butter's melted. I'll come back to that. Well, in fact, I'll do that next. So it says to stir in the melted butter, water and egg. So 1 tablespoon of water and 1 egg. So 1 egg. Give that a bit of a beat with a fork. And I'm using Lion brand eggs. These are eggs that have come from a supermarket, and they're guaranteed salmonella free. I love this pudding when it's not thoroughly cooked. It's a slightly raw in the middle. And so if you are eating raw eggs, it's very important if you're doing that you get lion brand, because it means they're definitely salmonella free. So there we go. Look, that's the mixture for the chocolate pud, or the chocolate cake, if you like. So let's just put that in to the microwave. Not very good at this. There we go. But we'll get that in, and it goes on for about 1 minute to 1 minute 30 seconds. Okay, so I'm going to start off with 1 minute first of all. That's an 800 watt power microwave, so it might differ for your microwave, but you can test it after a minute. Okay, hang on a second. I forgot to add the sweetener. Never mind, it's not cooked yet. I'm too busy chatting. Right, here we go. So it says 2 tablespoons of sweetener. 1, 2. I've still got the chance. Lucky that. Yeah. So I was talking about the type of sweetener that you can use, and they're all available in the big supermarkets. Unfortunately, they're not available in Lidl's or Aldi as yet. But if you go to the sugar section in the big supermarkets, on the shelves either side or above, you'll often find a brand called Pure Via, similar things like that. And my favourite one is a type of sweetener called erythritol. Okay, let's get this in back in there. Okay, so yeah, erythritol. And it's perfect for baking. Sometimes you will see it mixed with stevia. This is pure stevia drops, incredibly expensive, and to be fair, I hardly ever used it. Sometimes you get a mixture of stevia and erythritol, and that's called Swerve, Truvia. I think it's called Swerve, but certainly Truvia is about 99% erythritol and a few drops of stevia. But mostly this is perfectly okay. I got this off the internet. Some supermarkets now are doing erythritol, but it's demerara flavoured. So they've added like a caramelly flavour to this. So that's actually quite nice if you're making Christmas things, spices and things like that. So erythritol, Sucrin Gold, that's a luxury brand. Again, I mean, super expensive. I hardly ever use that, but it's erythritol again. You can get powdered erythritol, like for icing cake, making butter icing and things like that. That's quite useful. I've had this packet for ages because, to be honest, I don't make that sweet stuff anymore. And then we come on to xylitol, which is a similar family to erythritol. But this one you do have, if you've got dogs, be really careful that you don't let the dogs lick a bowl or get near it or don't spill it. I mean, they're unlikely to eat it, but if they ended up inadvertently eating it, it's absolutely toxic for dogs. So you might decide it's just not worth the risk in your particular situation. So this is xylitol. It's really good for making ice cream because it keeps the soft scoop effect. But be warned, some of these, particularly xylitol, if you eat tons of it, or not tons of it, but if you eat too much of it and you've got a sensitive stomach, it can cause gas and bloating. So the main thing is introducing these sweeteners is to go easy. Don't eat loads of it at first. So there's a really good section in the handbook on sweeteners on page 38. So I urge you to read that. Let's have a look at how this is doing. Ooh, yes, looks nice. So I might need a little bit longer. I'd say prefer to, underdo it. So in fact, I'm just going to turn that out, see if it needs a bit longer. In fact, let's have a look. Ooh, yes, actually that's had 1 minute. And if you look at that, that's actually, can you see? That's lovely and moist on the underside. It's kind of like got its own chocolate sauce. So you could keep, if you were going to serve it as a cake, you wanted to cool it, put icing in it, or what have you, then maybe another 10, 15 seconds, let it cool. But as it is, I think that's a really good, quick dessert, you know, for when you really do need something sweet. So there we have the 3-minute chocolate cake from the handbook. A quick rundown on the different types of sugar. Be really careful when you're looking at sugars. The ones in Lidl's and Aldi's, they're called sweetener, and they come in big plastic tubs. Check the label, because on the back, quite often it's got a thing called maltodextrin, and that, you know, should be banned really, because that will spike your insulin like nothing else. So okay, it doesn't, it's not a glucose thing, but it's insulin spiking, and it should be avoided. So just double check what you're actually buying. And if you pick up a packet that says like this, and it says it's stevia, just look at the back, because you'll find that about 99% of it is actually erythritol, and you might be better off just buying a packet of erythritol. Sometimes people can be triggered by sweeteners, and if you find that that's you, one bite means that you just can't stop, then really try and avoid all sweeteners, natural or artificial. And you will, the longer you go without, the easier it is. So definitely, have a try and enjoy.